Okay, this is at Love Clark again, and I'm presenting more of Germany and the Germany and the Holy Roman Empire. Now, we're at Germany and prophecy, and this is chapter 5, I believe, the last chapter, chapter 5, yeah. This is the last chapter, and a couple pages, okay. Germany and prophecy. By the time Mr. Armstrong came on the scene, much of Daniel's prophecy had become history. However, there is a crucial part of this prophecy yet unfulfilled, which will happen soon. In Daniel 8:23, God says, "And in the latter time of their kingdom, an end-time Roman Empire, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up." This is the political beast which is about to rise up and astound the world. For a while, Germany and the European Union are going to have a great burst of economic growth as a benefit of their political union. Then this colossal superstate, with its great military power, will turn on Israel. God says it's going to happen. Continuing in Daniel 8:24, "And this power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. There are 9 other nations in the beast alliance besides Germany, but the real power behind the beast is Satan." Revelation 13:4. That's what "not by his own power" means. There will be 10 nations or groups of nations, and this German leader, a king of fierce countenance, will control them all. Verse 14 continues, "And he shall destroy wonderfully." That means nuclear destruction. Germany is going to obtain nuclear missiles and bombs and a mighty army. They will destroy wonderfully many millions of people. Whole cities will be laid to waste, yet God promises protection to his faithful people. We are going to need protection. What will happen to those who scoff at God's protection? Verse 24 shows their fate. "He shall destroy wonderfully and shall prosper and practice and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people." You heard that? He shall destroy wonderfully and shall prosper and practice and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. In verse 25, we see fate of mankind at the hands of this king of fierce countenance. "And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many." By peace shall destroy many. Or as the New English Bible translate that phrase, "He shall conjure up great plans, and when they least expect it, work havoc on many." Through masterful satanic deceit, this beast power will destroy and wreak havoc on millions. Worst of the heathen. Why does God allow the terrible beast power to rise and destroy? Ezekiel 7 tells us God allows it to punish his people. Ezekiel tells us God allows it to punish his people. Ezekiel 7 tells us God allows it to punish his people. I said it 3 times. Read verses 2 through 3. Why must God do this? Verse 23. "Make a chain, for the land is full of bloody crimes, and the city is full of violence." Pause. They keep pointing at and this magazine keeps pointing at Germany. Why can't this beast be the United States. I see it fitting either way, but, they don't see it that way. I think it all just fits in. You got to just throw the Illuminati on top and it all fits in, because it controls everything. Everything's Antichrist almost. Everything's anti-God. Everything is actually the opposite of what it's supposed to be. Okay, so why must God do this? Make a chain, for the land is full of bloody crimes, and the city is full of violence. Who is this talking about? Read your newspaper headlines. This violence epidemic is in the United States most of all. The cities are full of violence. God is going to punish modern-day Israelites because our lands are full of violence, and our nations still will not turn to God. Here is what God will do. Wherefore I will bring the worst of the heathen, and they shall possess their houses. I will also make the pomp of the strong to cease, and their holy places shall be defiled. When the worst of the heathen get into power, they do what they have always done. Only this time God says they're going to wreak worse. Sorry guys. Worse havoc, death, and destruction than has ever occurred in man's history. The Germans have many wonderful characteristics, but when Satan leads them into war, they become brutal. Sometimes we need to be reminded of how horrible man can be toward fellow man. There is probably no greater example in humanity than the Germans in World War II. But how much have we gotten? Have we completely shut it out of our minds? Do we think it won't happen again? God says it's going to happen far worse than ever before. We need to remind ourselves of what happened in the German concentration camps during those ugly times of modern civilization. The phrase worst of the heathen applies to Germany today. Crisis at the end. Let's look at a prophecy yet to be fulfilled, which shows that events we see developing today are leading to the crisis at the end of this age. And at the time of the end shall the king of the south, a Middle Eastern power, push at him, and the king of the north, German-led European Union, shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots and with horsemen and with ships, and he shall enter into their countries, and shall overflow and pass over. Daniel 11:40. The Germans are going to get control of the Middle East. Verse 41. He, the king of the north, shall enter also into the glorious land, Jerusalem and the promised land, and many countries shall be overthrown. The events in the Middle East are going to lead to seriously escalating problems. They are going to trigger World War III. The Bible says so. The king of the north is almost in place for this global tragedy. The king of the south is virtually there as well, and they have the oil. They're just not fully aware yet of how much power that oil gives them over Europe. Germany, which has virtually no oil, is waiting for an opportunity to take control of the Middle East. They have planned this for years. The need for oil was the trigger that caused Japan to attack Pearl Harbor and start World War II in the Pacific. That same trigger could be the main reason for the clash between the king of the north and the king of the south. Control of Jerusalem could also lead to war. Both the Catholics and Muslims desperately want Jerusalem. Okay, next we'll do punishment and salvation. Okay, now here's some photos. We've probably seen a lot of these before. We'll try to read this sidebar. Have we forgotten The following are some graphic and lamentable excerpts from Shoah, an oral history of the Holocaust by Claude Lanzmann. When we first opened the graves, we couldn't help it. We all burst out sobbing, but the Germans almost beat us to death. We had to work at killing pace for 2 days, beaten all the time and with no tools. The Germans even forbade us to use the words corpse or victim. The dead were blocks of wood, dung, with absolutely no importance. Anyone who said corpse or victim was beaten. The Germans made us refer to the bodies as Figuren, that is, as puppets, as dolls, or as schmatters, which means rags. The head of the Wiener Gestapo told us there are 90,000 people lying there and absolutely no trace must be left of them. At that time we started working in that place they called Treblinka. Still, I couldn't believe what had happened. Over there on the other side of the gate where the people went in, everything disappeared and everything got quiet. But in a minute, we found out, when we start to ask the people who worked here before us what happened to the others, they said, "Well, what do you mean what happened? Don't you know that? They're all gassed, all killed." It was impossible to say anything. We were just like stones. We couldn't ask what happened to the wife, to the kid. What do you mean, wife, kid? Nobody is anymore. So that while 5,000 Jews arrived in Treblinka, 3,000 were dead in the cars. They had slashed their wrists or just died. The ones we unloaded were half dead and half mad. In their other train from Poland and elsewhere, at least half were dead. We stacked them here and there, here and there, here and here. Thousands of people pile one on top of the other on the ramp, stacked like wood. In addition, other Jews still alive waited there for 2 days. The smell. Gas chambers could no longer handle the load. They functioned day and night in that period. More people kept coming, always more, whom we hadn't the facilities to kill. The brass was in a rush to clean out the Warsaw ghetto. The gas chambers couldn't handle the load, the smell of the gas chambers. The Jews had to wait their turn for a day or 2 days, 3 days. The Warsaw, they foresaw what was coming. They may not have been certain, but many knew. There were Jewish women who slashed their daughters' wrists at night, then cut their own. Others poisoned themselves. Their corpses lying there were cleared away. There was a period of the old gas chambers because there were so many dead they couldn't be gotten rid of. The bodies piled up around the gas chambers and stayed there for days. Under the pile of bodies was a cesspool 3 inches deep, full of blood and worms and dung. No one wanted to clean it out. The Jews preferred to be shocked rather than work there. Wow, if that's really true, that is disgusting, isn't it? Whoa, I mean, what a powerful hatred of people. Look at that. Look at that. What the hell? What did it say? What did it say here? Under bodies were a cesspool 3 inches deep. All that stuff at the bottom. That's disgusting, isn't it? Some people like it. Some people say, I'm hungry. They look at that and they say, that's food. You can distribute that. Soylent Green. Soylent Green. Hey, they said they found human DNA in hot dogs. What the hell? Soylent Green. No, I don't know, guys, but this is gross. I try to joke because it's easier to handle, but the idea is, there's two sides to every story, guys, okay? And I'm not saying everything in this magazine is true, but I'm also trying to tell other people, look, things did happen. You can't say some stuff didn't happen. Stuff did happen. people were executed like this, okay? Now the numbers have been exaggerated. I gotta stop this because it's going to get to the 15th.